There was a Rosh Kollel in Bnei Brak that went over to the Chazon Ish, right? He goes over to the Chazon Ish, the Gadol Torah at that time, and he says, Rabbi, I don't have any money for payroll, right? I have these people learning in my kollel, I need to pay them. I don't have any money. I need to go to America to raise funds. And he came in, he says, can I have a blessing that I should be successful? So the Chazon Ish responds, when the time comes, you'll have the money. So the rabbi, the Rosh Kollel, says to the Chazon Ish, says, well, I'm going to America. Can I have a blessing that I'll be successful? And the Chazon Ish again responded, when the time comes, you'll have money. And the rabbi was not getting the blessing that he wanted, right? The blessing that he wanted is that you're going to go to America, you'll be very successful, you have the money, and you'll go back. You'll be able to pay off all the people that that need to get the money. But he wasn't saying that. He said at the end, when you need the money, you'll get it. And he kept on asking it, the Chazon Ish kept on responding. So he said, okay, what am I going to do? He takes a plane, he flies into America, he does all his rounds, he goes to all the shuls, he goes to the Landows, he goes to, when he lands in New York, he goes to Landau, he goes to Shomer Shabbos, he goes to the Sitchul, he goes to everywhere that he needs to go, he's collecting, he's visiting the businesses, he's visiting the people's houses. But it wasn't successful. It was just not, for reasons, it just was not working out. Like after 2 weeks, he barely made enough money to cover his ticket. Said he had to go back. It wasn't being successful, so he books a flight back. He lands in Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv. He gets onto the tarmac and he sees over there one of his students is waving at him frantically, come. He's like, I just landed. And he runs with his little suitcase. He starts running there. So what's going on? He said, we have to hurry up. We have to go back to the yeshiva. So there's a guy there from South America. Looks like he has, a very successful guy. He's waiting to speak to you. I told him, I'm going to pick you up from the airport. Maybe he wants to give the yeshiva some money. I know something's going on. We have to rush back because I told him that you were going to be right there. So they jump into the car and they rush back to the yeshiva. They get back to the yeshiva, and the Rosh Yeshiva gets out of the car, and he sees this guy standing in Bnei Brak with like a beige suit, blue shirt, very not the Bnei Brak vibe, right? And he goes over to him and he says, Shalom Aleichem, how can I help you? And the South American man starts telling him, he says, my father used to live on the block of the yeshiva, and he used to always watch people walk in and out of this yeshiva, and it always, resonated with him, and it always, made him feel, very good. And recently he just passed away, and I wanted to do something in his memory for his neshama. And I remembered about this yeshiva that I always used to speak about. So I came to this place, and I see over here you don't have a name on the thing. He says, maybe I could donate the name of the building. Maybe like for in the memory of my father. He says, is the name for sale? Now, this rabbi was just on a fundraising trip, didn't make any money. He was on a flight, he barely slept. He's going over there, he's like, is the name for sale? Yeah, I guess it is for sale. Yeah, he's like, I guess it's for sale. I don't have the name on the building. So he said, okay, so how much for the name on the building? And now he's starting to think, is a name, how am I going to start giving out a number? Like, he can't even think straight, like a number. He's starting to contemplate, what's the right number to ask? Do I ask for $100,000? Do I ask for $200,000? Meanwhile, he's contemplating this in his mind. And this, South American, Jew goes over to him and he says, and I'm using for inflation, it says, would around $12 million, would that cover the name for the building? And the rabbi is thinking 12 million? Yeah. In his mind, he's like jumping. He's like, are you kidding me? 12 million? He says, I was going to ask 120,000. He's like, 12 million? He says, yeah, that could work. That sounds fair. And the guy goes and he writes a check. He wires the money, and they make this whole big, huge, event. And they make a big meal, and they make this big ceremony. While the plans are in action, this Rav goes back to the Chazon Ish. And he goes to the Chazon Ish. And the Chazon Ish sees him. He says, no, how is America? Were you successful? And the Rav goes to the Chazon Ish and says, Rebbe, you know how America was. It was a disaster. I barely made for my, money for my flight. But the Chazon Ish responded, but do you have money for your Avreichem? Do you have money that you're able to pay, to pay the bills? And the Rav answered, he says, I have money for this month, I have money for next month, I have money for this year, I have money for next year, I have money for the next couple of years. So the Chazon Ish says, see, Baruch Hashem, it worked out. But then the Rav says, but Rebbe, you got to help me out over here. He says, if you knew this, why did you tell me to go to America? Why did you told me at the end of the month that I'll have money? He says, why did I have to fly out there? I could have stayed over here. I could have learned. Why did I need to go and break my back for 2 weeks and go around over here? If the money was supposed to come anyways, why did I have to go and travel? So the Chazon Ish responded, and he said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu works in a way that you have to do your hishtadlus. The way that the money is going to come is very likely not going to be through your hishtadlus, but you have to do a certain hishtadlus. And in life, we do a certain hishtadlus. We go a certain path, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends the money in a different way mostly. Most of the very successful people, the multi-billionaires of the world, they made their money not from something that they were planning on doing, but something that just happened to happen. Now, why? Why does Hashem do it that way? And Hashem does it to us in our day-to-day life. And the reason is because Hashem is sending us signs. Hey, by the way, I am here. It doesn't matter what you do. I am showing you that I am here. We're numb to reality. We don't see the reality. We don't see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is there. So that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to constantly send us signs every so often. Hey, I am here. And it might not be in a $12 million check, but it's going to be in a ways that we, see a parking spot or look at like 1,000 billion different ways that you could say, oh, this is Hashem saying hi to you and showing you that He is here around and He is existing. And the reason why it has to happen all so often, it happens very often, we're just a little bit blind to it because we have our blinders there so we don't look around. But if we take off our blinders, we'll be able to see Hashem everywhere. And Hashem is doing that because we're in a generation that is numb. And Hashem is sending us signs. Hey, by the way, I know you're numb, but look, I'm here. Look at me.